Hello and welcome back. The much-awaited Pran Pratishtha or consecration ceremony of the Ram Janmabhoomi temple in Ayodhya has been completed. We have been talking about the Ayodhya economic opportunities. Let's now focus on the Prime Minister's address and its significance. Joining me now is BJP National Spokesperson Ajay Alok and political analyst Karan Verma and Sandeep Shastri. Sandeep Shastri, if I can begin first with you. This has been on the BJP's agenda for decades now. What does this mean for the political party, for the ruling party, now that this milestone has been achieved?
Parikshit, I think today's development for the ruling party allows a voice of faith to become the vocabulary of politics. That, I think, for me, is one of the possible achievements that today can lead to. Something which was intensely about religious faith. As I said, the intense voice of faith becomes a very important vocabulary of politics. So in a sense, I think the keystone of the BJP campaign as it goes into the Lok Sabha election will be about fulfilling this particular promise, along with, of course, many other things which it would like to focus on. So clearly, the timing has been perfect, as has been the timing which the BJP has had for the last 9 years in terms of managing the message and managing the placement of a message, irrespective of which field that message comes from, to draw political/electoral dividends from that. So I think undoubtedly this has been something which the BJP would use to their advantage.
All right. We seem to be losing that link with Mr. Shastri, but we'll get that audio corrected. Let me go across to Ajay Alok. Ajay Alok, the big messages from what RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat and the Prime Minister said today. This was a goal that the BJP had been working towards. The Prime Minister said that we apologize for the delay in construction of the Ram temple, the return of the Ram Lalla idol to Ayodhya. How does this make the BJP stronger in the coming months? Because yes, elections are around the corner. There is always talk about continuity of the government, the economy, the business always speaks about that. How does this encourage the BJP's prospects going forward?
See, whenever you make or build a political party, you just need to show your vision that what you want to do. Now, Ram Mandir has nothing to do with elections, with the upcoming elections or something. This was one thing which was very close to our heart and to the millions of Hindus across and to the millions of Bharatiya Janata Party Karyakarta. Government or no government, we have always believed in Ram Temple and we wanted to do it at the earliest. Don't forget, we are the only party who has sacrificed 4 government of ours when the so-called Babri Dhacha was demolished. So it's something very close to heart which does not confine to the election. And yes, it does make BJP very strong, because when you see your goal being accomplished, you aspire for more, and that fills you with energy. What PM said today, ki Ram Agni Ram Urja hai. So this Ram temple has filled up with energy and with positive energy for doing something good for the nation. And in the process, party will become more strong and more victorious and emerge like it has always emerged in the past.
Right. Karan Verma, the Prime Minister said that this is India's time. 22nd January will no longer be just another date. It's going to be remembered for decades, years to come, centuries to come. He also said that this is another step towards nation building. If you had to pick up certain cues, immediate priorities of the Prime Minister, of the government, of the RSS, from this speech that was delivered from the temple inauguration, what would those cues be?
Jai Shri Ram, Parikshit, to you, to our fellow panelists, and to the crores of countrymen for whom today is a moment of pride. And I say this with a lot of conviction. It's not just a moment of pride for any Hindu. It's a moment of pride for our civilization in totality. And when the Prime Minister talks about it, or when RSS talks about it, we must understand that they have sacrificed a lot for this movement. A lot of people say that, okay, they are going to get political mileage out of it or whatever. But the truth is, this movement would not have reached its fruition if not for the sacrifice and the complete mobilization that happened through the Karyakartas of BJP, RSS, VHP. Yes, the judgment came through the Supreme Court. But it was their government that pushed for a day-to-day hearing. It was their government that translated lakhs of documents back in 2017 when the successive UP governments could not translate those documents. So today, if they are getting credit for it, I say this, yes, they deserve credit for this. Now, as far as what are the cues coming out of it, let's understand this, Parikshit. Mr. Modi has a very holistic view of development. We remember when the Kashi Vishwanath corridor opened, people were saying, why are we wasting so much of money? And all those naysayers were coming up with it. Today, we know that there is a 1700% jump in the tourism in Kashi post the corridor. Now, as far as the Ram Mandir is concerned, what the CAIP has come up with is a 50,000 crores of trade of Mandir Samagris and accessories alone in the coming year. So we are seeing a very holistic model of development where cultural pride is also a centerpiece of it. And at the same time, its benefits are reaching one and all. So I think the cue from this is that this is only going to go to greater heights. And the Ram Rajya that he's talked about, where prosperity reaches
go up to greater heights. Karan,
I think, yeah, sorry.
Right, Karan, I'm going to come back to you. Let me take quick questions with Ajay Alok and Mr. Shastri. Mr. Alok, I'd like to ask you about certain immediate priorities. Yes, the interim budget is around the corner. Then you'll have the full budget in July, depending on the election outcome. But I would like to ask you, what can the people of this country, especially some of the most vulnerable groups, expect if you had to give certain predictions from the Prime Minister's speech? Yes, the interim budget is still in the works. Only the Finance Ministry and the PMO knows what's really happening. But if you were to give certain cues for the Aam Aadmi based on what the Prime Minister said today during the inauguration of the Ram Temple, what would those be? Ajay Alok.
Well, Prime Minister has always been saying this: "Sabka Saath, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas, Sabka Vikas." So, this is a development for everyone. It's not like the development for such few development. So, what Prime Minister said, that yahi samay hai, sahi samay hai. So, this is the time for India's boom. This is the India's time which the globe is also seeing. When all the economies are failing in the world, we are at number 5 and we are growing at a steady rate of 6.2%. Now, our main target is also that the prices should be lowered down, the inflation should be under control, and with this new infrastructural boom in 3 dimensions attached to it. Number 1 is social dimension of Ayodhya. Number 2 is cultural dimension, cultural angle of Ayodhya, which is so important globally. Like today, we are able to express our cultural nationalism all over the globe. Today, the telecast was being run in almost around 140 countries. Today, this is something, an economical boom like what your experts were talking earlier. Economical boom is bound to happen because almost 55,000 crores of investment has already taken place. The World Bank and other financial rating agencies, they are expecting the Ayodhya business, Ayodhya story of business to be somewhere around 1 lakh crores.
Throwing up an economic opportunity. Mr. Shastri, in about 30 seconds, where does this leave the opposition? Several key opposition parties, Congress, TMC, they skipped this event today. How do you see the opposition faring from here onwards? What does this milestone today mean for the political debate over the Ram Temple?
Parikshit, as I said in my earlier intervention, the BJP has managed to transform an important voice of faith into the vocabulary of politics. And what the opposition was caught doing is only responding to the agenda set by the BJP. And it will be important to see in the coming months whether they can make their focus on Nyay as the key element of the campaign, or whether the BJP can turn their Nyay, which is getting Nyay for the country, as they would put it. So I think it will be a competition between two narratives of Nyay. The icon of culture and civilization becoming an instrument of politics is, I think, the question that will come up.
All right, we've run out of time. Ajay Alok, Sandeep Shastri, Karan Verma, thank you very much for joining us on the program. We're going to take another break here on CNBC TV18. The discussion continues on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
राम सिया राम जय जय राम, राम सिया राम जय जय राम। धीरज धर्म मित्र अरुणारी, आपद काल परखिए।
Very divine occasion. Blessed to be a part of this.
बहुत ही बड़ा दिन है और कोई खुशी नहीं, मतलब मैं जाहिर नहीं कर सकते हम कितने खुश हैं।
श्री रामचंद्र कृपालो भज मन, हरण भव भय दारुणम्।
आज तो केवल आस्था है, विश्वास है, पूजा है मन में।
मैं जब एंटर कर रहा था आफ्टर द सिक्योरिटी आई स्टार्टेड वीपिंग।